So I was sat pondering what to make. I'd still got ties. And I mean, like, lots of ties. Oh, what to make, what to make. And then I had an idea. So I'm going to use this. You see, the other day I was chopping up a fluffy pink onesie for upcycling because it's too short in the body for me. Can't wear it. And I accidentally cropped out this pretty cool little crop jacket. Yeah? And you see kind of the form of this. I think the form is really good. Now, as mad as I am with my clothes, I'm not going to go out in a hacked up piece of fluffy pink onesie. But we can use this to create a pattern to make something that's a bit more my style. So the first thing I need to do is basically break this item down into its individual pattern pieces. So I need to cut along the seams of this garment so I get it obviously into the pieces that I need to make this jacket. So there you have it. That garment is now cut down roughly to 3 basic pattern pieces. So this is the front, I'll need 2 of these. This is the back, I'll either need 2 of these or I'll need to fold the fabric in half and then cut out a whole back piece. And then this is the sleeves. Again, I'll need 2 of these. Now I need to neaten up things like the straight edges on here, okay, which I'll use with my rotary cutter. You'll have also noticed when I've been cutting this out that I've taken all the seams off and the seam allowances. That's because when I come to use the pattern, then I will re-add the seam allowances as I cut the fabric. Now obviously fleece fabric moves, feels and stretches differently to what the ties do. So there's certain things when I start putting this pattern together and start working this garment that I need to take into account. One of them is the lack of stretch. So obviously you can see this fleece has got quite a bit of stretch. And it will have stretched when I've put it on my body. So I need to add extra in when I'm cutting everything out to account for that lack of stretch. Also, the way these sleeves are, they're quite snug fitting against my skin, and I don't want snug fitting sleeves. I want my sleeves to be a little bit loose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add into this pattern piece some extra width towards the bottom. So I don't mind it being snug towards the top, but I need some extra width towards the bottom, and I'm also going to add some extra length because I want to put a rolled cuff on this sleeve. So I'm actually going to add maybe an extra 4-5 inches on the bottom of here, so I can then fold that up and have like a roll cuff feature on the finished garment. So what I've done with the sleeve is I've trimmed the edge off so it's nice and level, and then I've put 4 large cuts in and gradually spread them out so I get the width of the pattern that I want at the end without disturbing the top shape of the sleeve. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get some iron-on stabilizer. I'm going to iron this on so it stabilizes these new gaps, the extra width in it, and then I will quickly run it along the sewing machine just to make sure it's really secure, and then I'll be adding the extra length, and then that's that pattern piece done. So I'm just fixing the stabilizer in place by gently just dropping the iron on the top. I don't want to use it as you would use a normal iron by pressing down and pushing backwards and forwards, because then it would overstretch the fabric, because this fabric is obviously already very stretchy. I'm also being careful not to stabilize my table. You know, cutting mats are pretty expensive. I don't want to destroy the cotton mat, you know. I also don't want to destroy my iron, because irons are expensive too, aren't they, really? So that's that side done. Let's flip this over and have a look what we've got. Now, as you can see, I've extended the stabilizer out over the bottom, because what's going to happen is I'm going to make a stabilizer sandwich and press the 2 stabilizers together, and then that, once trimmed, will give the extra length to the sleeve. And there we have it, one extended pattern piece for the sleeve. Is it how it's done in the books? Probably not. Is it how I do things? Hell yeah, because 99% of the time I'm just making this up as I go along. So the next piece I want to have a look at, this is going to be the front of the jacket. I know I need to extend it out by a good couple of inches over here to obviously give it an edging to make it a bit more something. cover up across, because obviously with this onesie it had a zip in it, and then obviously you've got the seams for the zip. It takes a big chunk, roughly 2 inches out the front of what this onesie was. So I need to re-add those 2 inches back into it. But I also want to make this more of a curve. Yes, it's a bit more of a feature at the front of the jacket, so it curves around slightly. Try and accentuate the waist. Not that I've got a lot of waist, to be fair. I'm shaped like a sack of jelly and potatoes, but hey. But to try and give the illusion of some kind of waist, and just to give it some more shape and a bit more style. So I've dug out one of my dressmaking rulers that I hardly ever use. Bad on me, don't come at me. And I'm going to add a curve to the edge here. So there's like that bit of curve, and then down into the waist and round. And then obviously we need to bring this up when we add the extra 2 inches across the front here. So I'm just going to get my chalk, put that in place and mark that out so I can then get it cut. So there we go, we've got a nice curved edge, and then once again I'm going to use the good old stabilizer to extend this across the front to get that 2 inches back on the front so that the chest piece actually comes together. So now I've got my pattern pieces made up, I guess I need to start picking out ties and sewing them together. So from the dungaree project, I worked out that making panels using 8 ties sewn together worked really well. Any more, it starts to distort too much. Any less, and it's a faff when you're stitching the whole garment together. So I've worked out for this particular project, I'm going to need 3 to 4 panels to make it up. So you're looking 24 to 36 ties in this particular garment. I'm using the polyester ties again, just because of durability and ease of use. I have another project in the line for the silk ones. I'm not sure what the heck I'm doing yet, but there will be another project with the silk ones. I want to keep the silk for something a bit special. So yeah, let me get some ties picked out and let's get these stitched together. So I've got my ties all picked out. The first thing I'm going to do is stitch along the back of the ties to stabilize this, because I know from past experience when you come to put the garment together this starts to unstitch. So I want that stabilized first. So I was sat up till quite late last night stitching all these ties along the back. So now we need to make them into panels. So like I did before, I'm going to pin this in place, fold this back, and then we're going to cut the excess here and create another piece that will go along there. So that's all the pattern pieces now cut, so let's get this garment put together. So I've stitched all the pieces together, and I've noticed that here there's almost like a triangle of fabric missing. So I've taken a little piece of tie, and now I'm going to stitch it into place to make up for that missing little piece of fabric there. This is a tricky bit. I've got to roll the sleeves while I stitch it so I don't end up accidentally stitching the whole thing together. And because I'm not doing like a standard seam, because I'm doing these flat seams, it's really, really fiddly. I'm glad I've actually made big poofy sleeves on this, because otherwise this would be impossible. Absolutely impossible. But slow and steady. Let's keep chipping away. So I've managed to get half the sleeve done. I'm now going to come at it from the other side, because I think it'll be easier, because there'll be more room here than coming from this end. So I've got the garment all put together now. I've given it an initial quick iron just to see how it is, and trimmed it up and leveled everything. But now I need to make some bias tape. And I was looking through my stash, because I thought, I don't really want to do any more ties on the edge of this. I want something that's going to make this really, pop, stand out a bit. And hunting through everything that I've got, I've found this piece of denim. It's off an old pair of jeans. There's a little bit of stretch to it, but it stretches this way more than that way. So I'm going to make bias tape out of this, so I can put a bias around this jacket and around the end of the arms, just to finish it off and give it a bit of pop of colour. Are you ready for this? Ta-da! I'm really happy with how this has come out. Just saying, the pattern came from the top half of an old onesie. There's 32 ties and the leg off an old pair of jeans. I mean, it's pretty cool. It fits quite nice. If I wanted to, I could stick a button in the front. I kind of like do pockets, don't do pockets. Don't know about that one yet. But yeah, it's warm. It's sort of like autumn, spring wear. I'm thinking like black jeans or black dungarees. Yeah, I know, dungaree girl. And a brightly coloured t-shirt maybe. What do you think? Let me know. Drop me a comment and... Oh, God, what now? Hello? Oh, hi. Oh, wow, you're getting married? Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure, of course we'll be there. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, sure. Okay, you take care. Yeah, we'll chat soon. I know you're busy. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Bye. What am I going to wear?
Subscribe. 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 Subscribe.